right, we are on to part 2 and the final part of this Aurora Sleeping Beauty inspired outfit. If you would like to see me make the corset part of this dress and corset combo, I'll put that up above and down below so you can go see it and then come back to watch this video. But in this video, we are going to be focusing on the dress portion. In the original version, it does seem to be a blouse and skirt combo. However, I kind of want this to be a dress for a couple of different reasons. When I make things, I also like to fill out my wardrobe, give myself something new that I haven't given myself before. And a lot of the dresses I've made over the last few months are very cold weather dresses. They have long sleeves, they're a little bit heavier in their layers, and I'm wanting something that I can wear when the weather turns warmer, which I'm going to be sad about because it doesn't feel like I've had much of a winter this year. Thanks, global warming. I want something that when worn with this outfit looks pretty fantastical. When I wear it with maybe a t-shirt underneath, it could look more casual summer. You know, something that's a little bit more transitional than more casual and modern, maybe more like a quirky 90s Phoebe Buffay inspired dress. The main reason why I wanted this to be a dress is honestly because I picked this really cool trim and I want to put it in as many places as possible, and I feel like a dress will allow me to put the trim in more areas. That's about it, I think. So let's go on and I'll show you how I made this dress and finish this outfit. Okay, let's talk about the pattern and the fabrics. Let's talk about the fabric and the patterns that I'm going to be using. For the fabric, it is this duvet cover that I found. So like this width is basically doubled because there's 2 sides to it, and I think that will be enough. It's really pretty like brownish gray color. I think it kind of splits the difference between the concept art that I really love and the official costume that we see in the final movie. And as far as patterns, for the bodice section, I'm going to be using this pattern, probably this bodice specifically, and I'm just going to close center front and add tabs to the back like I always do, and then just widen the pattern, specifically the back, so that you can just tighten it. I don't know why tabs are not more popular in dresses. I feel like that's just a way that it's so much easier to put on by your, like zippers are not easy to put on by yourself. Like let's all admit this now. Tabs are just so much easier because you just lace it. It's done. I'm seeing some dresses with that in like modern dressmaking, but not all the time. And then for the skirt, I'm gonna have to pop up the pattern because the bag it's in looks like this. I didn't know there were that many pattern pieces when I picked that bag, and I'm just not fixing it because that just, I don't want to look at it. I use the skirt pieces from this pattern. Every time basically I make a dress now, it's just so perfectly swooshy, but a little bit slimming at the waist. I don't like having all of that extra fabric at the top. That's just my personal opinion with like what I like on me. I'm not saying that if you do it any other way that that's bad. This is just what I like on myself. I feel like I'm over explaining. There is one final thing that has not arrived yet, but it was literally kind of what ended up inspiring this costume. So when it comes in, I cannot wait to show you. But for now, let's just cut out the basics. Cool. So since this was a corset pattern, I had to create a bit more ease, and I added about 1 inch to each piece, which ended up being a bit too much for the front, but not enough for the back, so I added an extra panel in the back. While we're here, I want to discuss a couple more things about the inspiration and design behind this dress. Costume design of a lot of movies, animated or not, in the 20th century were heavily inspired by the silhouettes of the time in which they were being made, which we can still say is true to today, but Sleeping Beauty came out in 1959, and you can definitely see the inspiration of that late 1950s silhouette with things such as Dior's new look becoming a new trend in that decade. But as I mentioned, I wanted a little bit of a 90s vibe as well, and at this point I was hoping that maybe with some stylistic changes and my interesting ribbon that hadn't arrived yet, I could mix the 2 looks together pretty well. The trim arrived! Yeah! Look at how pretty it is. Look at those details and birds. It just feels so perfect with like that one scene in the movie where she's like dancing with the owl and hanging out with all the birds. If you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you will know that my parents' house has a bird sanctuary that we all help set up, and I go and film the bird sanctuary a lot. And I love the bird sanctuary. It brings me a lot of joy. So this just feels like a little homage to the bird sanctuary as well. I'm so excited. I've actually taken a few days off from this project. It's January right now, but it is not that cold outside today, but I feel like this sweater just completes the outfit a little better. Makes it look like I tried. I have actually taken about a week off from this project. I was getting a little anxious about the ribbon and when it would arrive. I also had to do that in between video with the chainmail, so that kind of paused this project for a second, but we're back and I don't remember anything that I was doing before. All right. Let's get to work. So at some point I'd already started the lining layer and made a couple of fit changes in the bodice, especially to the front, because as I said, it was a little bit too large. So it was time to start on the outer shell. On this dress, I wanted to add some boning because I wanted to experiment with creating more structure in a dress without adding a corset with it. So I placed 3 sets of boning on each side at the front princess seam and the back side seam, as well as guesstimating where a true side seam would go since there isn't one on this pattern, and I added boning there as well. I then put my skirt panels together, of which there are 6. And added elastic, as I've done a couple of times before, to make gathering very easy at the waist. And since I was talking about the bird sanctuary, I thought it'd be fun to do just another little update and show you what it looks like in late fall and early winter. Squirrel, I swear, do not scare that bird, I swear. You're such a bully. Okay, back to sewing. I then connected the lining to the outer shell at the neckline. After this, I wanted to check the fit one more time before making finishing touches, and while the overall fit was good, I needed to take the top of the back bodice in a bit, and my boning channels had gone up a little too far and were creating a boob situation. And lastly, for that day, I started curling my only blondish wig on my new wig head. I've named her Bertha. It's the final day, which means it's time to add the trim. So this is gonna be 2-ish steps left, probably more. I hope this isn't, I didn't know what to do with my mic today. First thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at the hem. I'm going to use the same method that I used for my Sophie dress a few weeks ago. I absolutely adored that. It was both faster and I think prettier. Online it says I have 9 yards, which I'm hoping was the truth, because then that means I will have more than enough. I think it's about 4 to 5 yards around my hems with the width that I usually like to do, which means I have more than enough to also add some definition around the waist. I kept the back tabs up a bit higher to make room for it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pin it into place, hand stitch it except for like the back pieces, leave that open so that I can do hooks and bars and close it a little tighter. The one problem with this trim, which isn't a problem, it's just something I have to add, is it's very loosey-goosey and light front, which will not be a problem for the hem, but I think it will be a problem for the waistline. It'll probably like crinkle up and not be pretty. I'm gonna add a couple of layers of interfacing just to make sure that it acts more like a belt and keeps everything like nice and structured in that area. The last thing I'm gonna do is I completely forgot that Aurora has like a little headband, so I'm going to take my leftovers, keep fingers crossed that I kept my leftovers from my black pillowcases. If not, I'll just use my leftovers from my dress and make a quick little fake headband to go on my wig. Yeah, that's the plan for the day. And then we'll be done, and then I can show you. Let's get to it.
Now last time I tried this trick and it was a breeze, but I think because this trim is 4 inches wide, I was having a bit more of an issue putting something that is straight onto something that is curved. So after this initial stitch and turning it over to the right side, I had to do a couple of tucks throughout it to keep it straight. And there is a bit of pulling in places, but overall I think it turned out okay. If you would like to see me do this a bit more in detail and much better, I'll put that video up above. For the waist ribbon, I added 2 layers of interfacing. Then I hand stitched it to butt up against the bodice skirt seam. The last thing I did for the dress was stitch an extra set of tabs over this ribbon to make it fit right. I then quickly made a headband. Not well, but I made a headband-like shape and left it open at each end to slip one of my cheap headbands through that I had lying around. The last thing I did was let out my curls on my wig and try my best to make them look curly. I think it's going to take a couple more times with this wig before I can start shaping it the way that I want. I definitely didn't like leave it in the water long enough or something. But now I am ready to show you the final result.
And it is true what they say about like you should wear a hat because your head like retains your heat. I'm in a wig and it's like 45 degrees outside and I'm so hot. I am very pleased with this outcome. I think it is so cute. Love the hem. It did take some pain and tears, but I think it was worth it. I have already bought 2 more colors of the same ribbon. It's going on anything that it possibly can. I don't have my mic. Okay, now I have my mic as if I haven't had to have my mic so many times before. But anyway, I also love how this dress looks by itself. It's kind of interesting. It is a very interesting dress. Like for being a gray neutral, this was a really fun project. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you back here next time. Bye.